Okay, let's look at problem 234. A copper was used as a fungicide. So you're adding a chemical in citrus orchard that are being considered for a storm water retention project. So they add some chemicals for the citrus orchard that are being considered for a stormwater retention project as part of the Everglades restoration effort. The only problem when they add these chemicals to kill all these insects and to produce more fruits in the future, that copper accumulates in apple snails. These are the apple snails. So I have this sketch that might, okay? These accumulates in apple snails, which is like a primary food source of course, there's an endangered bird called Everglades snail kite. So this depend on this to eat this. And if you have any chemicals and fungicide like copper, this will also accumulate in this. So this chemical will accumulate in this, and this chemical, whatever it has inside the snail, will accumulate in the bird. Okay. So now, the professional engineer at PTA, this is a company incorporated, is considering two former citrus production areas. They want to construct a stormwater treatment area. They want to make sure that this stormwater is being treated, after rain comes, cleaning the citrus trees with all these coppers, and will come to the stormwater and pollute, and of course being accumulated in this snail, and this bird will eat the snail and have all this copper poisoning. So there's two former citrus productions areas for construction of stormwater treatment area. One of the area is 1,000. So there's two options. So I'll put the two options. Option 1. (1,500 acre). Okay, this site with a soil having a copper content of 220 ppm. This soil inside this area has 220 part per million copper in it. So this is the concentration of copper in the soil. And there is another option, option 2. Option 2, it is another area, 2,000 acre, with 160 pound of copper. And this 160 pound of copper are uniformly distributed in the top 6 to 8 inch in soil. So the soil of that next option, most of the soil 6 to 8 inches. So this is the soil, and 6 to 8 inches. You can see that 6 to 8 inches of the soil, 160 pound of copper is uniformly distributed throughout. Okay, which site would our female engineer, the professional consultant, is recommending, which site that this engineer will recommend for the project if the ecological threshold to support Everglade snail kite. So this snail kite, if you want to maintain them and not kill them because of this toxicity of copper, okay, the and the ecological threshold to support the snail kite is 85. This is the max. You should not go beyond this. Milligram Cu per kilogram. So this is the regulation. This should not be this should not be higher than that in soil. Ecological threshold means that the soil concentration of copper cannot exceed this value. Assume that the below layer of soil, upper 6 to 8 inches for the 2,000 acre site, weighs 2 million pounds. So the 6 to 8 is 2 million. All of this is 2 million pound. Okay. So now we need to figure out which option is good, because one of these options would be good, because we don't want to be treating all of this, but we want to see which one will give you a good value. Let's look at the first one, the 220 ppm on the 1,500 acres. Okay, so 220, option number one, 220 ppm. What is the ppm? ppm means gram Cu over gram soil total times 10 to the minus 6. Remember, we multiply it by 10 to the 6 to make it ppm, but now we are converting ppm to gram per gram, so you have multiplied by 10 to the minus 6. And now gram per milligram, we want to make it compared to the standard. We want to convert this to the standard so we could find out what is the ppm converted to milligram per kilogram. So let's convert gram to milligram. We want to make it milligram per kilogram. 1 gram is 1,000 milligram. And then, so this is gram covered, cancel with this. And now let's delete this so you could have space. Okay, so now gram total or gram soil over kilogram total or kilogram soil. So 1 kilogram is 1,000. You could see from here that 1,000 and 1,000 and 10 to the minus 6 is all gone. So the concentration is 220 milligram copper over kilogram. Now, so look at this. 220 is huge, and the standard is what? And the standard is 85 milligram per kilogram. This is huge compared to the standard. So option one would not be a selection. So the engineer should not select option number one, because option number one, look at this, 220 milligram copper per kilogram compared to 85, the regulation. So this is much higher than the standard, 85 milligram copper per kilogram. Now let's look at the next option, option number two. Option number two, there is 160 pounds. 160 pounds. They found this uniformly distributed throughout the soil. And he told you that the soil 6 to 8 inch throughout is 210 to the 6 pounds. So 2 million, that's what he mentioned. So 210 to the 6 pounds. Now this is pound per pound. Let's make it pound to kilogram. So the soil is, let's see, pound of copper, and this is pound total. So pound copper is equal, 1 kilogram is equal 2.2. And this conversion, you don't have to memorize it, because these are the things that we will give it to you in the exam. Okay, so now it's kilogram, but we want to convert it to milligram. So kilogram, this is now kilogram copper, 2 milligram copper. 1 kilogram is equal 10 to the 6 milligram. Okay, so this is kilogram with kilogram. Now you have milligram copper. Nice. Now we want to convert this pound total to kilogram soil. So pound over kilogram total. And remember, 1 kilogram is 2.205. So now, pound with pound, you'll end up with what? 2.205, 2.205, and then 10 to the 6 over 10 to the 6. So now it's 160 divided by 2. You can see that 160 divided by 2 is 80 milligram copper per kilogram soil. Now, this is lower than the regulation guidelines, milligram copper per kilogram. So, option number 2, the engineer should select, our recommendation should be the following. The engineer should select option 2, which is the 2,000 acre site. The 2,000 acre site. If you want to save the bird, and if you want to save the life of this project and farm, you should select option number 2. Thank you very much.